back. Nice job, La Bamba. My first guest tonight. Yeah, my first guest stars as... It's like a caveman discovering music over there. My first guest stars as Harry Potter in the Harry Potter films, and beginning September 5th, you can see him on Broadway in Equus. And he's gotten rave reviews for that. Please welcome Daniel Radcliffe. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. You're very charged tonight. You told me backstage, I saw you briefly when I charged into your room and beat you savagely. You said that, and stole the fruit in your room. You said that you were very excited about the band this evening.
I know. That was between screams.
Yes, yes.
And, no, they are fantastic. They're a band, and it's very embarrassing because I now know they can probably hear me backstage.
Right.
And, but yeah, they are one of my favourite bands. They're
That's
called
great.
The Whole Steady.
They're terrific.
Yeah, everyone's here.
Stick around. We gotta...
Yeah.
Now,
it's the main reason. It's the main. Every time I come here, they have. You know, you have great music. It's basically the reason I'm coming back.
I see. All right then. Look at me. What a joy to speak to me, huh?
Yeah.
Now, I mentioned Equus. You did Equus in London, and
yes.
Now you're bringing it here to Broadway, and when does it begin? It begins September 5th.
September 5th.
Yes, and the production in London just got rave reviews. People thought your performance was fantastic.
Yeah, no, it was really good. I mean, we were kind of really worried about. I was very worried about people, because of the Harry Potter thing, possibly coming to the play, you know, with an axe to grind already about me or whatever. But actually, people seem to go with a really great kind of open mind, open to the play. And it is a great show. And the cast we have had in London was fantastic, and the cast we have here is great.
Is the word out here, when you walk around, do people know about Equus? I mean, of course they know about Harry Potter, but do they know about this play?
Yeah, I mean, that's what's kind of bizarre about New York as a whole, is that people here are really theatre savvy everywhere. Like, I was running the other day, not from anyone, just running, and I got lost, and I decided, okay, because I know that people don't like necessarily in New York strangers coming up to them and speaking to them, because you don't seem to like that very much.
Right.
But when so I thought, who's not going to suspect that I'm going to mug them, and who will also know the way to my home? And so I thought, ambulance drivers. And so I knocked on the door. It's a logical leap.
Yeah, because you thought, these are people whose job is to assist strangers.
Yes, and to, well, yeah, but also to know their way around.
Yes.
And so I knocked on the door of this ambulance, and it wasn't functioning for somebody at the time. It was, you know, they were on a break.
Oh, good.
And
you weren't like, stop giving them CPR.
Yeah, exactly. Please, I've got something. You think you're in trouble? I've got something really important to ask. No, it was the, and I asked this guy, and he kind of said, yeah, and you're the guy who plays Harry Potter, aren't you? I said, yeah, and he said, oh, you're opening an Equus here soon. Yeah, you know about that? And it's just like people who you don't necessarily associate with the theatre just seem to have this knowledge of the play, or at least that I'm here.
They know what's going on. And the word's also out, because it was talked about quite a bit, that in Equus there is some nudity.
Yes.
You are nude a little bit. And, maybe the reason I didn't get that role. But I was curious about it because the Harry Potter franchise it's so important.
Not to be naked.
Yes, or, you know, in your image, were people at all worried? JK Rowling, was she all right with you?
Oh, she loved it.
Did she come and see the...
Calm down, audience.
Yes.
No, but,
she came and saw the show.
She came and saw the show, and she was like, there was a whole bunch of stuff put around by the British media that Warner Brothers were really unhappy about it, and that JK Rowling was really unhappy, and it just wasn't true. They were all really supportive and cool, and Joe came and saw the show, and on the one, I swear, we did 129 performances, and on the last, on the only time that she came was the only time that someone threw a Harry Potter related item at the stage. And which is something I urge you don't do, please. And especially maybe like not in the middle of things. And we were, but
wait till the end of the show.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
To shower a new Daniel Radcliffe with Harry Potter merchandise.
But anyway, somebody threw a stuffed owl at the stage with a note. and at the curtain call, and it was just very bizarre. And she sort of came backstage, and in regards to what you were asking about the nudity, she actually said that she would now want Harry naked in the 7th book, which had not been published by then, and it won't be happening. But yeah,
the next Harry Potter, yeah, he will be nude.
And Harry Potter. Yeah.
You know, it's funny, we had Gary Oldman here just a couple of weeks ago, and terrific actor.
He's
and, of
great.
course, you have worked with him
Yeah.
in the Harry Potter movies. And he said that when he was working with you, and this was a number of years ago, when you were younger, you were doing a scene, and that you were having trouble, you needed to cry, I think, in this scene, and you were having a little trouble with that, and that he helped you in a bit of an unconventional way.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
tell us the story from...
Well, basically, he kind of came up to me and said, Dan, do you mind if I make this sort of a little bit more intense on this next one? I said, no, not at all. Great, you know. Gary Oldman, brilliant. And so he came up to me and he sort of put his arms out and I thought, oh, he's going to hug me, great. And he grabbed me by the shoulders and shook me violently for about 30 seconds and screamed in my face from about this distance.
Right,
Sorry,
right there, yeah,
stay
that's
there.
okay.
But,
this is scarier for you than it is for me, trust me. And then what happened?
Yes.
Remember, the band's good. Stick to the band.
I'm almost crying. But he shook me, and he was this weird thing, and there is some sort of weird reaction where I just started to cry as he sort of started walking away from me and just kept eye contact. It was bizarre, and it worked.
But it worked.
And he got the performance out of me. Someone needed to, I suppose. But
shaking a child violently does tend to make him cry.
I know.
It's not a strange mystical trick.
I also find, you know, putting their hand onto a stove or something like that.
I think that was what he was going to do next.
Yeah.
Now, I know you've been very busy, but have you had a chance to watch the Olympics at all? Have you been excited about it?
I watched the Olympics, or as it should be called over here, America versus China. Because that is all. When I watched it for the first... Like, watching the BBC coverage in England, you kind of get, like, a mix of sports. I found out they showed us the gold medal table a week and a half in, and England were 4th. And I was like, I haven't seen a British athlete in 2 weeks.
Right.
It was very strange, because for the first weeks, it's all, like, gymnastics and diving and things. And swimming, of course, with Michael Phelps, who's just this incredible creature.
Yeah.
And he is amazing, though, really.
Yeah.
And so I kind of watched that, and that was it. But I've been watching the thing that's actually really exciting for me is the whole election stuff that's going on. That's fascinating.
Well, what does it look like?
For someone who's the future of whose country does not depend on the result,
yeah,
it's really exciting.
Well, what's it like from your perspective to watch this American coverage, which is just saturation about this? We've been watching, it's been 2 years this election's been going on.
I like the fact that there's, you know, Florida had these incredible storms. There was a possible date where they were talking about pulling out from Iraq, and just none of it's been covered. Right. It's just all been the election, and it's fantastic. And the way they cover it, with these guys with their names like Wolf Blitzer.
Isn't that a great name?
That's a brilliant name.
That might be the best thing America does, is come up with names like Wolf Blitzer.
Well, Sam Champion's not bad.
Sam Champion.
I mean, and then...
Talk about a competitive people. What's your name? I am Sam Champion!
I know, exactly. And there's one other, who's like, I can't remember his name now, but there's loads of them.
Duke Missile.
But we've got, because the only equivalents that we have, there's one guy in England who's, I think, a weather forecaster, and his name is Thomas Schaffernacker.
What?
Which is just it's a great name.
Thomas Schaffernacker?
Thomas Schaffernacker, which is just a cool name. But the other brilliant one, and there's a woman who is a reporter for the BBC, and the brilliant thing is that every time that the anchorman or woman passes over to her, they get to go, and now for this story in God knows where, we have Julia Caesar. And because her name is Julia Caesar.
Right.
And together they just run it into one, so it sounds like you're going to be given a report by a Roman Empire. It's fantastic. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds very good, though.
Yeah,
all right,
hilarious.
well, a lot to talk about. Equus begins previews at the Broadhurst Theatre on Broadway, September 5th.
You got all that right.
Yes, I did. I did well.
Yes.
And when is the next Harry Potter film? I know you're not mentioning that now.
I'm very confused about that as well. It's coming out next year. I don't know what the exact release date is now, because it was going to obviously be in November, I think, and then it got changed.
Right. It's pretty much up to me. I will let you know.
Okay, cool. Well, you give me the word.
You wouldn't believe the kind of power I have in show business.
No, I wouldn't.
Screw with me. Daniel Radcliffe, always a joy. Stick around. The band's coming up. We'll be right back. Steve Coogan's here. We'll see you in a minute.